First story. For starters, I think that there's a lot of layers to this situation that makes it feel like this has to be the end. My partner and I have been together for over 9 years, and honestly, the first 4 to 5 years were awesome. I had genuinely never felt this way about anyone in my life, but things started going south after that. I started to realize that he always had an excuse for not helping me cook or clean the house, no matter how much I begged and pleaded for help. He started making me feel like going to see my family was inconveniencing him. He makes snide remarks the whole time and just makes the entire trip miserable to the point of me crying. I know it might sound dumb, but I've even started having panic attacks because of how bad he makes the holidays. He doesn't attempt to communicate in a healthy way, and it honestly feels like he waits until the very last moment until he'll apologize, if he does. I've been on the last straw mark for a few years now, but I always end up forgiving him because I love him. It's kind of like the saying, when it's great, it's really great, but when it's bad, it's really bad. Okay, so now let's move on to a few days ago when he lost his crap in public over a sandwich. We had the same day off, so we decided to run some errands and go to a sandwich shop for lunch afterwards. Honestly, the first half of the day was great until it was time for lunch. We walked in, and because it was noon, the place was packed, and unfortunately, there was only one person working, so we had to wait in line for about 20 minutes. Is it frustrating waiting in line that long? Yes, but I tried to make things as positive as I could because I know he gets irritated easily. We kind of overheard the employee tell others in front of us that some ingredients were either out completely or just had gone bad. It honestly could have been because of the hurricane outage the week before. We didn't get hit horribly, but some did lose power, but I'm also not 100% sure on what was going on. Also, for a little backstory, I had an ex that worked at this particular sandwich chain, and he got me onto this sandwich that I've been eating since I was about 18 or 19, and I introduced it to my current fiancé, and we just always get the same thing anytime we go there. So finally, it's our turn, and we get everything started. Bread, meat, cheese, and throw it in the toaster. She brings it out, and I tell her the next ingredient, lots of spinach. She looks at me and breaks the news that the spinach has gone bad. Bummer. But whatever. It's not the end of the world, right? My fiancé standing next to me goes, "Are you effing serious? Dude, F this crap. She did this crap on purpose. We're effing leaving. Come on." And then just storms out and leaves me standing in the shop while everyone in the entire place stops and is either watching the situation or is looking uncomfortable. Just think of how you feel when you see a Karen in the wild. But it was my partner. I just want to throw this little side note in here. I have extreme social anxiety as well, and he is absolutely aware of the severity of it. So I'm standing there and quietly tell the employee that he's upset, and I think we might just head out, and she hits me with a, "Nah, if you leave." I'm calling the cops. My anxiety gets even worse. The cops, what the EFF? I look at my phone and my partner has texted me, "Get that food and we're done." The cops and I'm being broken up with? I texted him that he left me in a bad situation and he knows how bad my anxiety is, and then the employee hits me with, "I can't believe you would come in here, know that we're low on ingredients, and then waste the little that we have." She's right though. I was seriously just going to get lettuce instead of spinach, but now I'm standing there, being threatened by everyone for something that I didn't even do. I get another text from my partner, "F it, find someone else to come and get you." Great, I'm now stranded here. I finish building the sandwiches, pay, and try to hide behind my bag of food, hoping that he's still there, and thankfully he is. Unfortunately, he decided to take out his anger on me, and for like 15 minutes straight. The whole ride home, this man blamed me, told me that I'm not a team player, and that I chose my side, while screaming at me at the top of his lungs. I was bawling. I haven't spoken to him in like 3 days. He sent me a text about how sorry he was, but I'm feeling fed up with all of it. I also have a family event tomorrow that I guess I can't make because he's got the only vehicle, so I'm going to have to disappoint my family once again. IDK, I'm just stressed out, and I'm not sure what to do anymore. If you've made it to the end of this, thank you for just letting me vent, and if you have any advice, I would love to hear it. For the top comments, "Girl, what? It's over. This is insane behavior. You really want this to be your life? Being screamed at, threatened, belittled, disrespected. This grown man doesn't cook, doesn't clean, makes you and your family feel like a burden, makes you cry a lot. I know you have anxiety. I assume confrontation is hard for you. But you need to do this for yourself. For your dignity. For your safety. The way he behaves is unacceptable. The way he spoke to you is unacceptable. And you never want to see him again. If you're close with your family, give them a call. I don't know how far away you live from them, but if my sister called me and said she broke up with her fiancé and she was stranded and wanted to come to family dinner, I would drop everything and come get her. Doesn't matter if the drive is 20 minutes or 2 hours. Do not take him back. This is, at best, extremely toxic and immature behavior, and at worst and most likely abusive behavior that will escalate. I'm worried for your safety, to be honest. I don't think you should see him alone in person again. I am really mind-boggled that you don't clearly see how wrong he is and how this is a bad relationship. But I know it's hard to identify problems when you're living in them. Don't think that you've spent too much time with him or invested too much to let him go. That's bullcrap. You've got so much time, so much life left to live. Staying with someone who's bad for you is way worse than just being alone. Reach out to people who love you for support. Stay away from this man and flourish. Wishing you the best. Next comment, OP, I was with someone for 10 years who did this crap multiple times among other horrible things. I've been divorced from him for 20 years, thankfully. Please get out of there, but be careful because he sounds unhinged. Last comment, for me it was just 3.5 years and it was absolute hell. The first year was good, and then it was just like what OP was describing. Absolutely awful. One time he literally drove off because he didn't agree with me being polite to someone, and I just stood there. He would pull this shit for family events too, even during an effing funeral. No, OP, get out. I loved this guy so much I thought I'd marry him, and I'm thankful I caught him cheating, because I was holding on to straws too, forgiving him over and over. The situation you just described would be one-on-one what my ex and I would be like, and it's really not okay. I've been without him for some years now, and I feel relieved and liberated every single day. It took me literally over a year to stop being surprised that no one started screaming at me or people around me when stuff like you're describing happened. Next story, I'm 26. Female in dental school right now, and my friends and I went to play badminton at school. I was with one partner, and we were playing really well. Then we wanted to rotate partners, so I got paired with a girl. I'll call her Dana. She doesn't really play sports, but it seemed like she really wanted to be my partner, so I said sure. While playing, we bumped into each other a lot. I don't think she's very good at sports. When I called on the birdie, she would still go for it. Long story short, we collided once more, but this time she swung her racket directly on my eye. I lost my vision for 2 hours and I went to the emergency room. It was just grey. Nothing else. But she was laughing the entire time. I feel like it was nervous laughter. I tried to stay calm and positive just because all my friends were there. We're also going to be in the same class for the next 4 years and I didn't want to create tension. Either way, I noticed the entire time she was just laughing. She went to the emergency room with me, but she was still kind of nervously laughing. I had to go to the ophthalmologist the next morning at 8 a.m., and the tests they did on me were uncomfortable and painful. It made me think about how I'm spending the one day during dental school where I could have taken a break. Instead, I spent it there, and I was dilated that I couldn't study the entire day. Everything was blurry for about 7 hours. Doctors said I have damage on my retina and some bleeding in the back of my eye. My vision should return in 1 to 4 months, but there's a risk this vision loss could be permanent. And then there was a get-together with the same friends, and she was there. She was laughing the entire time again and joked about my eye too. She doesn't seem to understand the severity of the situation, and it irks me. Now I want to ask her for compensation, cover all my Uber fees going to and from the hospital, and my optometry appointment fees. I didn't go to class today because my eye didn't feel great, and I didn't want to see her face either. Today she went for sushi with our classmates, and I saw the group photo, and she's smiling so widely it bothers me even more. I don't really know how to handle this situation. I don't want to create drama or tension. I also don't want to affect my relationships with my other friends in our friend group. But I'm effing pissed, man, and scared that this could be permanent. How do I continue this friendship? I don't know how to handle this. I don't think her parents know either. I didn't tell my parents because they're going on a trip to Europe and I don't want to worry them when they finally get a vacation. I just feel stuck. TLDR. My friend from school hit her badminton racket in my eye and I lost half of my vision. I want her to compensate. And I also don't know how to continue this friendship without feeling bitter. For the top comments, my dude, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You should have already realized by now that Dana doesn't really care about your eye or your costs or, you in general. She's not your friend. A friend would have apologized, asked you what they can do to help, offered to take you to appointments, helped you study to make up for the time lost. She did none of that. So step 1, realize that there is no friendship to continue. Dana is not a friend. Step 2, you need to decide if you want to be compensated or if you don't want to create drama. You can't have both, that much is clear, since Dana doesn't care about you, but cares a lot about herself, as you have seen by her general attitude, even just during playing with you doing what she wanted. If you don't want to rock the boat, well, then continue to do nothing. If you want to get compensation, talk to a lawyer and find out what your options and chances are in the first place. Those will vary depending on where you live, of course. Once you are well informed about your options, decide on what option you want to offer to Dana. If you want to do so in an act of kindness, see what she says. If she refuses, hand matters to your lawyer. Next comment. 100%. I once accidentally hit my friend in the face, right by her eye, with a tennis racket after no one believed I was too clumsy for sports. My reaction, immediately ask her if she was okay, rip my shirt in half to stop the bleeding and nearly carry her to the nurse. And despite it only being a bad cut in the end, I apologized for a week straight until she felt comfortable making jokes about it, at my deserved expense. This woman is not a friend and should be sued if the costs are high enough to be worth it. Last comment. I hurt myself badly, completely my own fault. I didn't put my arms above my head to protect it while jumping off the board, so it hit me in the head while a friend taught me a surfing lesson. I ended up with a big gnarly cut under my eye, a black eye, had a bruise in the eye and so forth. My friend was so upset. Just witnessing it drove me shivering in our wet wetsuits to the hospital, where I was cleared, and took care of me afterwards. She felt so responsible, even though she explained getting off the board multiple times and was meters away, so it really wasn't even her fault. She was so upset that she hurt me that she teared up the first times when I was ready to make jokes about it. Last story. I, 29 male, have been going out with my girlfriend, 26 female, for a little over 2 years. She's a wonderful person but throws deep temper tantrums regularly over small things. Usually small amounts of money or easily replaceable things breaking. Today she booked a flight to Scotland and got the return date wrong by a day. She booked this on a travel card, so refunds are tricky and she would need to pay a $25 fee to correct the date. She flipped out, screaming at the top of her lungs and stomping on the ground, bawling her eyes out. For about 10 minutes then, disappeared in a huff and won't talk to me. Apparently this is also my fault as I distracted her. She booked this in another room as I was writing notes. Blaming me for things is a common theme in her tantrums. Somehow I have been blamed for weather events cancelling flights before. I've tried to help in the past. I'm very solution-focused when problems arise, but she inevitably refuses help and will just rage until she tires herself out, then accepts help. This happens maybe once a week, sometimes the severity being worse than other times. It's becoming so draining, it's hard to be supportive when being yelled out for something completely out of your control. And I'm also losing my empathy because the reasons for throwing a tantrum can be so trivial that when she's upset about something important, there seems to be hardly any difference in the way she acts. How do you help an adult who has temper tantrums? For the top comments, how would I deal with it? I wouldn't. My 6-year-old knows better. I'm not having a partner who behaves like that. Next comment, he should call her parents and say, thanks that miserable experience, good luck to your daughter, you'll never taught her how to behave and it shows. Last comment, my guy, are you her partner or her parent? What's keeping you in this relationship? Why do you think that at 26 years old, she doesn't know this is not an okay way to act?